In a world where no podcaster is made equal, there is one man who stands above the rest. With his superior intellect, he is able to ask the hard-hitting questions the media simply don't want you to know.
How are Mandalorians created? Is it Manda sex, or is it sex allure? It's Bloore on Mandalore!
That's right, little Timmy. Now buckle your intellectual seatbelt because shit's about to go down.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Bloore on Mandalore. I am your host, Jeremy Bloore, and I am so keen to talk to you guys about the finale of The Acolyte, episode 8. It is called The Acolyte. Look, I saw a whole thing before about it being called Doom, but I don't know if it's just because it's early on, but it's been called The Acolyte on Disney+. So I'm running with that. Look, guys, let's get into it. Let's get stuck into a meaty, juicy episode. We're going to have our whole meat and potatoes here. But I bring my phone out because we are going to have the comment of the week. Guys, you have all been so incredible every single week. I know all of you people who have been commenting, responding, liking all my stuff, doing all that you can to support us here. Me here at Bloore on Mandalore. Guys, my favorite comment of last week, which was from Luke Lutzer. I hope I'm saying that right. He said, one of the biggest compliments of my life. Bro, I've been watching all of your vids throughout the Acolyte era. Good shit. Your takes, honesty, knowledge, and humor makes you an awesome creator in this super saturated part of YouTube. What the Guys, Luke, what the fuck, man? You're the best. You're the bomb. When I saw that, I was pretty down at that point in time. I was just like, I don't know about this whole thing. Like, all my videos have been doing pretty shit. And I see that, and I'm like, man, you are the reason why I do all this kind of stuff. Like, I appreciate this so much. Like, comments like that don't go astray. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate all the time that you've put into actually watching my shit. It's not, the best content ever, but hey, look, we're with each other for the ride. Let's learn together. Let's do this kind of stuff. I really appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. I just wanted to highlight that because, it's just, it's something that I'm always forever going to appreciate. Just you guys, behind the camera. I'm staring deep into my camera right now, but for you guys behind the camera, I really appreciate it. I just appreciate everything. And especially comments like that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Love you. Look, for the final episode, let's go into a review. But let's not just do a review of the final episode. Let's see how it compares as a finale to the rest of the season. Look, the finale, I think itself was actually pretty solid. My problem with the show is that it's in the wrong order. Everything is placed in the wrong way, and they've just stretched things out. You could have done like a micro series, probably even a 5-episode one. 3-episode even. Make it long. Make it hour-long episodes. You could have done a 3. You actually didn't need as much time as everybody thought to kind of give the background. All you needed was to put episode 3 and episode 7. Both of the 2 episodes that were flashbacks, put them both together. Okay, put them together at the start, add a little bit more complexity to the characters. Let us know their driving ambitions, because in episode 7, when it was released, it was like, we were waiting that whole time for that. Literally 7 weeks, we waited to see that. Like, we already knew everything, and it actually gave us more questions than it did answers. As Star Wars Sith 66 said, blue balls, baby. Blue balls. We all had blue balls here. Look, I liked this last episode for a bunch of different reasons, but it was one of the only episodes that I think was actually thought out. It was well written. It was definitely a conclusion towards a season. I know Leslie Headland did say, well, it's going to be a hard stop. It wasn't a hard stop. It wasn't like that's it. That's the end. We can't go any further. That's what a hard stop is. It's, this was very open-ended. This is like, hey, guys, oh my God, there's going to be a season 2. There has to be a season 2. Give me the answers. I'm not clawing out my teeth and just like ripping my nails out, being like, I need a second season. What I would think would be really cool is if it was a movie. I think they don't actually need that long. I mean, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Maybe do a micro series, like a 3 episode, 1 hour. Like great episode. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. But not because of it's comparing to the shit episodes before, because it was really well thought out, but we needed it all earlier. We needed everything like that earlier. It should have gone a little bit further, and we just got cock teased by Plagueis. Like, honestly, when I saw him, I was like, oh my god! Look, okay. That's a long-ass fucking review. You would not see that on the back of the DVD because it would take up the whole bloody page. But, that's just generally my thoughts. But for this episode, I'm yelling. But for this episode, I think that we should honestly split this up into different ways. I kind of, it's so easy to break down the episode like I usually do in thoughts of what's going to happen next. But, in all reality, with the way it's been reviewed, the way everything's been going, I don't know if it's going to have a second season. So let's just do it as takeaways. Takeaways for the episode and how it compares to the whole series in itself. This is a finale. You're going to have elements and themes from every single episode put into all of it. I'm rubbing my nose way too much. Apologies for all of you people that are watching and not just listening. Okay, look, I've got 5 takeaways here. And then after that, I've still got 5 takeaways. I've got a lot to take away. But and then I've got bite-sized takeaways, like flashcard, kind of bang, 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 bang. So look, if you want to skip throughout, I will be doing very clear differences of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all the bite-sized stuff. And then after that, we're going to do the fan questions because we got a couple of really good, not a couple, we got a lot of fan questions from you beautiful people out there. Look, let's start off with one of the things that I was saying before in the review. It's key scenes stretched into a whole series. The finale was a really cohesive episode. All of it made sense. All of the paths kind of diverged into one. It was well thought out and it was logical. The way everybody reacts, it was kind of like all of the characters are going through their own little journey through the past, through the episode, which I thought was really interesting. The way they ended up on Brendok in different kind of rooms was highlighting, what the hell happened to them previously. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I kind of liked how everything in this season went. But it just needed to be placed differently. You know what I mean? You get scenes I'm gonna expand on it a lot more later. But you get scenes like the Kyber crystal bleeding. You get scenes in the previous episode, you've got Qimir with all of the marks on his back. A whole bunch of stuff that that was a very clearly an idea that you had because you put a lot of thought, a lot of kind of money and time into, but then all of that around it was really stretched. I know that you wanted to have that scene where, it was kind of I am your father, but it's an Obi-Wan of Sol didn't tell you what happened on that night, did he? No. Sol, hey, she's over there. Tell her. You know what I mean? It was kind of they had really strong thoughts, but then it was just not fleshed. They needed 8 episodes. At the same time, all of those episodes were 30 minutes. We were meant to be getting a 50 to an hour like the first episode. I don't understand why they felt the necessity to be able to stretch it out to 8. Just give us give us 4. Give us 4 big episodes. We don't need that much. What we want is good content that's cohesive. It works. It's don't actually think of key scenes and then stretch everything else to fill it. You know what I mean? Because then you start to slack on different areas that really are important to the fan base. That's the thing with Star Wars fans is you've got all of these amazing worlds and concepts and ideas and characters that have built up such a deep lore and they've resonated on our heart a lot. And when you fuck around with that, you really you really start to irk a lot of the fan base. And I think it's so much easier that if you want to do your own agenda, if you want to work on your own thing, that's by all means do it. Absolutely. Create your own thing. Like Andor. Nobody expected something like Andor. Rogue One. Nobody expected anything like Rogue One. Nobody expected anything like The Mandalorian. And here I am, obsessed with it. It's all around me. Like, you can do things that don't necessarily have to fit into the Skywalker saga as strictly as all the movies have been, but just make sure that it actually fucking works. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that I didn't like it. I just think that I would like it more if it was released in a certain order. I see all of these people going, oh, well, you know, I if you just watched it all, binged it, like binge it all together and it all makes sense. Like, I still don't think that it would make sense that much, you know? Give all of the flashbacks at the start and then see our characters evolve through there. Like, we as the audience should know what the hell's going on from the start, because all of the questions that led up to that flashback in episode 7, it wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. It was all answered, and it was answered by ourselves as well. Like, if some half-wit like me can be able to figure out all of these things, which my accuracy this whole fucking season has been spot on. It has been, I mean, probably like 80%, you know, and that's great. Like, to be able to kind of get all of that right, you know, it's pretty damn good. So, you know, if a half-wit like me can understand stuff like that and pick it up that easily, yeah, guys, how about you do a little bit more thinking? Look, the next one, another takeaway, is the beauty and the cinematography. The one thing that I said even from the start of The Acolyte was, man, like, they are actually giving us proper set, beautiful planets. I think Qimir is one of my favorite planets that I've ever seen. Like, it's actually gorgeous. You know, these huge mountain ranges and these dense, thick jungles that, like, reminiscent of Dagobah and like a green Hoth. Like, it was very Star Wars-esque, and I love that they just didn't use the volume. As much as I don't think the volume for the people, basically, it's a big dome that they filmed a lot of The Mandalorian in. It's a big LED TV screen. So you can kind of like, you can be within the environment. Whoa. But it is all on a screen. You can see the very clear difference, much more than you can much less than you can a green screen. But either way, like, the volume is a tool and it should be used. I'm not against the volume. But what I will say is that, like, the power of a real set is just, it's magical. To be able to work through a set, to be able to, you know, fucking Gladiator. If Gladiator was filmed on a green screen and he was dragging his hands through the bloody reeds, and the next thing you know, it was all on a fucking green screen, he's just touching a screen. Like, that would ruin everything. You know, you need harsh sunlight. You need a whole bunch of different factors that actually make the world feel lived in. And I'm a huge fan of that kind of, you know, that landscape. And I feel like that definitely goes into the beauty and the cinematography, because you can do so much more. I put in a couple of things that I thought was really beautiful just in the episode, but also, like, within the whole series. I thought the rings of Brendok, like, them going through those two huge, like, oh my God, like the double rings. I always thought that it was just like, yeah, I mean, every other planet, it's been clusters of, you know, rocks and everything, not too clear divisional with little pylons kind of connecting them. I thought that was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Like, that was Star Wars to me. You know what I mean? Like, that really was, it was fucking gorgeous. Now, do I know why the fuck Basil, that scrumptiddly-umptious little sexy bitch, I know why he pulled those cords? No, I don't really care. I was so caught up in the beauty of what was those rings on Brendok. Like genuinely loved every second that they were in that. And that was something that I was like, wow, which was so different to what it was in the previous episodes. You know, stop showing us these fucking washed up red jacket, what are they called? Red shirts. Like those random Jedi who seem to power walk everywhere. I don't know if you watch them throughout the whole thing. Jedi never run. Jedi always power walk. It's such a bullshit thing. Like, it's such a good guy thing to do. That's why I feel like I would be a Sith. Just, anyway, that's like a whole nother fucking can of worms or a kettle of fish, whatever you want to call it. That's, you know, that's a bit weird. I just don't know why they power walk. There's a whole problem. Anyway. The Kyber bleeding. Oh my god. That Kyber bleeding was insane. My only thing with the Kyber crystal bleeding was, we saw it in the Vader comics. I don't know. I mean, the Vader comics are pretty common. If you haven't seen it, there's definitely YouTube videos all over basically doing a recounting of it. I've seen it and I've also read it at the same time. It's just... It's gorgeous. Basically, when Vader is corrupting a Kyber crystal, in order to get the Kyber crystal, he takes down a Jedi Master, who is he's so cool. And then he basically takes it to a cave on Mustafar, which is strong with the Force. And then he goes to bleed the crystal. He sent Force visions of him being a Jedi, to basically turning to the light, Obi-Wan being good with him, all that kind of stuff, like Padme's alive, all that kind of stuff. And then it all reverses on him. It all goes super evil. And then he just goes, no, I am bad. And then the thing goes red and it's like, it's so cool. I don't know why she didn't go. I mean, Osha didn't go through the same kind of Force visions. Maybe she did. Maybe that was a different kind of point of view that we will get to see later in a season 2 or a movie. But, that was just, it did seem easy. My mate brought it up to me just before. It definitely did seem like an easy process, but I mean, she is also super powerful in the Force. She is a part of the Force, really. The strength, the midichlorians, is because she was created from a virgins, which is an insane pathway of Force energy. It would make sense, but also Vader is the chosen one as well. So it's you're teetering on a line here. I guess because he's half robot, maybe he couldn't handle it the same way. But I think that's unnecessary drama when it comes to that. Either way, I thought the Kyber crystal bleeding was fucking brilliant, and I loved, oh my god, when she ignited the saber and it was blue and then red and then all the red was creeping up. That is by far one of the most beautiful saber fonts that I've ever seen on an actual, you see all of those theory sabers. Talk to Star Wars Sith 66, he has a great discount code there. But all of the theory sabers, and you can do this. Oh my god, it was very reminiscent of what a fan would see with his own lightsaber, which was something that I was so grateful for. Definitely check out something like Theory Sabers if you want to see something of that kind of caliber. But it was a very much a fan moment, which I loved. And it was so beautiful to be able to experience that and to kind of connect with it at home, especially if you're a kid and you get to see something like that. It's just, congrats to you, Disney. They definitely know how to relate to a younger audience, or at least relate to the creativity of children and also adults who don't seem to grow up like me. Look, I'm only 24. Give me a break. Next one, the Qimir and Sol fight. That was just the cinematography in that was incredible. I actually thought that was a better fight than the Kelnucka fight. The Kelnucka and Sol fight. The way they, the way they were cutting through the walls, and even oh my god, the lightsaber screeching when I was and sparking onto Qamir's helmet. That actually made me feel like I was there with them. I actually felt anxious. No. That was one of those key scenes that I'm very certain they would have thought of. They're just incredible. If I was going to make a fan film, I would definitely put something like that in there. Yeah. Next one, Jedi Meeting Room. That was something that was just so cool. That was so cool. It was very reminiscent of the throne room of the Emperor in the Return of the Jedi. And then Master Yoda's quarters. Beautiful, white, angelic. He is the master of all masters. I'll talk about why what I have a problem with later with him being in it. But for now, let's go on to number 3. We have Senator Ragincourt, or however you say his name. Ragincourt, that's it. Senator Ragincourt. Basically, he was one of the characters that everyone was thinking, is it going to be the voice actor for Tenebrous? Is it going to be, this character and this character? Is it going to be Plagueis' voice? Where is it going to be? What is it going to happen? Look, he was just a senator. But this senator, he kind of gave me a little bit of an irking, oh, come on, brother. They did. Anyway, I wrote down his whole speech that he put here that I thought was just interesting. I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable. Venestra replies, "We don't control the Force." And then he replies, "Not the Force, your emotions. You project an image of goodness and restraint, but it is only a matter of time before one of you snaps. And when, not if, that happens, who will be strong enough to stop him?" The conversation continues, not really important. But another thing that he brings up later, which was, when you're looking up to your heroes, you don't have to face what is in front of you. Look, I love that speech, but I feel like it was trying to be something more. Like, it was trying to be the whole, hey guys, you know the Skywalker saga, you know how there's that guy Anakin, and how he turns on the whole Jedi, and he basically disrupts everything, and he destroys them all. Well, you know that's going to happen, so guess what? This senator thought about it earlier. What? It irks me, dude. I love that someone is passionate enough to be able to go against the Jedi in a time like that. But I talked about this in a previous episode. You know, you don't have to make the Jedi seem bad in order for them to be the villains in a show. Why are you putting it in here that is clearly linking towards the Chosen One fucking it up? They even did it with Mother Anastasia before. She was like, oh, you know, that kind of action is going to be the downfall of the Jedi, referring to Order 66 and Anakin. Like, how do you see the future that much that it's so obvious to everyone else around them, but not the Jedi? You know, yeah, okay, that's painting the whole, well, the Jedi are corrupt. You know, I mean, I've always bring up that Count Dooku quote. That Count Dooku quote, which was, you know, live by corruption and you no longer realize its stench. I understand that that is the path that they're trying to go down now, but, I mean, that's not the fall of the Jedi. The fall of the Jedi is their arrogance in thinking that they could control the whole galaxy. It's not that they couldn't control their own emotions and maybe one of them would turn rogue, like they made Sol out to be later on. It's just, you know, I mean, I love the Senator kind of going against Venestra in this, and, you know, I appreciate that there's multiple perspectives, but at the same time, check yourself before you wreck yourself, buddy. Like, this is everything that's wrong with the Acolyte. I'm not in it to see a rewrite of the Phantom Menace and, I mean, really all of the sequels, so the prequels. I'm in this to see its own original story based on the Sith perspective, which is what we were promised, and we just weren't delivered. So, I mean, I thought this speech was just everything that was wrong with the Acolyte itself. I don't think that it was a bad speech. I think it was necessary to show the story that they wanted to show, and, you know, it was beautifully delivered. I don't know the actor's name, but he was, like, so eloquent. It was a pleasure to watch. It was something that, you know, it needed to happen for the show, but I just don't think the show actually succeeded because of stories like that, because of the foreboding of Order 66 and all of the problems that they would have in the future. No, it's about the problems that they have currently. It's about the arrogance. It's about the corruption. Like, all of those issues are what stems to be the problem. It's not that they're just inherently bad people. It's just my biggest, like, the Jedi aren't like this. The Jedi aren't these people. They are the police force of the whole galaxy, sure, but they are the light. They are the goodness. They are everything that is right. Like Luke. You know, maybe these guys are a little bit more, you know, turned towards a more political side, sure. But it doesn't matter. It's still not the Jedi. Look, I'm going to leave it at that one because I just wanted to bring it. That was one big point for me, was just that was inherently what I thought was the downfall. You know, it could have been done so much better, and a character like that could have been the one, like, if all of this was written from Venestra's perspective, like, we got to see all of this, not from all of these other random perspectives. We got to see it all from Venestra's perspective, maybe having an argument with this senator. Man, that would have kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, and then even, like, because that, I mean, it really has been a whole Jedi perspective. Make it a show about that. Do a Sith perspective in another type of show where it's legitimately the Sith, not the Jedi being bad and the Sith being good. Like, come on. fucking... There are so many other ways to jerk off the fans. I think if Vanestra was talking to him the whole time, maybe that would have been such a more cohesive plot. Next one, we have point 4, which is Darth Plagueis. All right, Darth Plagueis is back, baby. This is our first live experience of Darth Plagueis. Yes, we got to see him before the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. I am so, I was so giddy when I saw it. I want to start doing reactions, reaction videos, but I just don't know how to work around that damn copyright. Look, so, hey, Star Wars Sith 66, if you're watching this right now, please, hey, send me a text, brother. But yeah, no, I really love that they added in Plagueis. But why the fuck is it 2 seconds? And I got a big question. Look, they've already had this problem with Ki Adi-Mundi, but it's why, if he's born, I've got it here, I've done my research. He's born between 147 and 120 BBY. So, Plagueis, are we seeing him as a youthful man? He had Sith eyes. So he couldn't have been that young. There's a whole bunch of questions. Is he young? Is he old? How old is he going to be when he's meeting with Palpatine? I'm not all aboard for that whole retcon of the Plagueis novel. I definitely feel like that should be the guideline towards how they add Plagueis in. It just makes the most amount of sense. It's one of the most loved novels. It would be so wrong to be going against the fan base with something like that. We all know Leslie Headland was a massive fan of the Plagueis novel, and that's why she wanted to add him in, and she got so much inspiration from it. But it does feel a bit kerfuddled. It was like, hey, by the way, you want to see a second season? Because guess what? There's a guy here that you all know. Everybody loves him. And he's got red Sith eyes. Oh, yeah, it's Plagueis, baby. It's like, that's the kind of cockwriting that we're going to need to be able to continue this show for another season. Look, the big question that I've had is Qimir a retcon of Darth Tenebrous? Is Qimir going to be the Darth Plagueis' master? It's the big question, but it all depends on whether he's young or not, or maybe is Qimir a Padawan of Darth Plagueis? I want to know how this goes. But the biggest thing is, the Force, they always talk about it, is a dyad in the Force. The power of a dyad with the power of the Sith could create the overarching rule of the Sith. It could create, it could create destruction for the whole Jedi Order in itself. The power that a dyad has is unparalleled. And, obviously, if you're not a sequel fan, you're like, well, I guess. You don't even speak like that. You can be a Star Wars fan and just enjoy it. But, if you don't like the sequels and you were like, I don't like that there's a dyad in the Force, that's okay. I think it is important to realize that this is going to be the future of Star Wars. So, get to know that there's going to be a fucking dyad in the Force. And I'm glad that it was more of a dyad with the two twins being in Divergence than it was the chosen one having a dyad with some other fucking random dude. Unless it was Dexter Jetster. That dyad would have been fucking baller. Maybe, instead of passing the lightsaber, Anakin could have just, reached back and grabbed a whole hearty meal of Dexter's little spice get-up. I don't know what the hell he cooks there. But, look, who knows? But look, I keep on talking about that. I think it's interesting to see Plagueis in there. Does he learn the Immaculate Conception from Osha? Is Osha the way that we are eventually creating Anakin? Which is, it's not like it couldn't happen. It's plausible for sure. It's just, I don't think that it's the smart way to go around it. Yeah, look, a Virgins is different. Maybe it's because when you have the two of them together and it creates that dyad, there's a Force power enough that he could kind of combine them and then use that to create Anakin. Who knows? Maybe they're the way that he can manipulate the Force. He can absorb their power. I don't know. That's actually something that I'm really keen for in the future to see, well, if there is a season 2 or if there is a movie, how are they going to change this whole story to be able to create Anakin? Look, I'm not upset that they added Plagueis. I'm really not. There's one quote that I see from I brought in here from Soul. He said, "In the history of the galaxy, only few have been that powerful." He was talking about creating life. OSHA is definitely going to be a reason that Plagueis knows about how to create life, but is she the reason why they created it? And did she give the power? Her immaculate conception with, it's not really immaculate conception, but her conception with Mother Anastasia and then May, all of them together, kind of put this massive power into the world, and then boom! It's interesting, but I don't know where we're going to go with that. I really, I'm curious, but I could also forget about it and just read the novel and then kind of pretend that it goes along like that. It is all going along the novel, and they've got the Cortosis on their planet. I can't remember what the name is. I said it last week, but I could probably flick through my notes here, but I can't be fucked. Let's go on to the next one, Soul. Number 5. Soul is my last big takeaway. I said before, the fight with Qimir was actually better than the fight with Kelnucka. I actually think it was probably my favorite fight in the whole series. I loved Qimir's fight with all the Cortosis, and he's slamming everyone, I think the high expectations were necessary, because why would you not want to rival something that is that amazing? But I will say, there is a fine line of, don't overhype your audience, because then they're going to be disappointed no matter what. Soul was blamed for all of the Jedi's mistakes. Look, I think that's good. I think that's good because it makes the most amount of sense, being there was no Sith. Nobody knew about it. Ki-Adi-Mundi, he was right in the end. No one knew about a Sith. It was just a rogue Jedi who was doing all these bad stuff, and then he killed himself. It's the easiest way. I just think they are so stupid. So stupid if they think that's actually the case. If they genuinely think that that's what happened, the Jedi are fucked. They are. They are in the end. I just, it's a cop-out. A lot of this show has just been a cop-out. It's the easy way out. Anyways, look, I will say one of the last things about Soul, and to finish this kind of bit up, I put here, Soul's blinding ambition to have a Padawan robbed Osha and May of their mother and their childhood. He was flawed in ways that, if addressed properly, would have been fixed. Now, I do think that if he told Osha a lot earlier, hey, by the way, I killed your mum, but it was because she went into some fucking demon mode, and then, I had to stab her because she was, farting, she turned into this big force fart, and it was just and stabbed her. Right? She would understand that so much more than finding out in the spot that he killed her from his sister that she thought was dead, and then a master who is a Sith, who is, apparently bad, but now he's got the sweet, sweet words of the devil. I think Soul could have fixed all of this, but his blinding ambition, being I feel a connection to this kid. Mate, you just saw her for 2 seconds. What the fuck? I guess I don't know how the Force works, but you saw her for 2 seconds. Grow up, dude. It's a kid running around. You don't have that much of a connection. Soul's a bit of a pedo. I think it would have made so much more sense throughout the whole thing if you got to see that flashback earlier. If we knew that Soul was just so obsessed with being a master that, hey, maybe it's going to cloud his judgment and he's going to steal a kid. Okay, hey, by the way, I won't save that bad one. I'll save the good one because the good one can be my Padawan. I want one so badly. It's just, he deserved his Viking funeral at the end, for sure. But I just, I loved his character. He had a really shit ending because he wasn't written properly. That character will go down. Soul and Qimir carried the show on their fucking shoulders the whole time. They need a rest after all of this. But, it's going to be the future of Star Wars to see kind of stuff like this. Oh, well, I'll blame it on that so it makes sense in the story. Mainly because the story's already been fleshed out, and then they're going to have to fill in the gaps. And if you haven't seen them in the main story, then where the hell are they? It's the big question with Ahsoka. It's the big question with a lot of these legacy characters. I think Soul is going to be a legacy character. I'm just keen to see where they're going to put him. All right, guys, let's get into the bite-sized takeaways. These ones are going to be super quick. I know I have just been divulging into all of this for so long. First one, Osha has witch powers like her mother, but does her mother partially live inside of her? It does make sense because Osha wasn't actually connected with the, with that big, eclipse or whatever that was, and she got the marking. That was May. It would make sense if May had those kind of powers, or maybe even when, Mother Anastasia was like turning into that force fight and she was slowly going into the kids. Well, maybe that's because a little part of her was actually left in there, and Osha was a vessel for Mother Anastasia, and she's just like slowly living her life until she can be awakened at that one point. Now that she's awakened, we're going to see a different kind of Osha, which we have seen already, but I just think that'd be super interesting. And also that Qimir seems to have the same kind of powers, so I wonder where they're going to advance with that character. Was he taught by Mother Quarren, or whatever the hell her name was, the Zabrak species? The other mother of May and Osha. I'd be keen to see if that was the case, because when they were going in the mining shaft, it was like, oh God, this is the only way up. And then he's like, is it? And he like disappears into the distance. Yeah. Look, I got one here. Basil stops Soul. Why? That didn't make any fucking sense. Basil, you scrumptiddlyumptious sexy little muffin. I don't understand you sometimes, brother. You can really make a fool of yourself. Okay? You can really make a fool of yourself, and I'm not enjoying that. All right? Buddy, check yourself before you wreck yourself. I said it before, but everyone revisiting points of conflict and turmoil, which is honestly, it was super cool. Qimir and Sol carried the show to the end. Abso-fucking-lutely they did. God damn it, go get a back brace. Osha failed to control her negative emotions. Yes, that was cool. She said before to Qimir, I failed! But, everyone was like, yeah, obviously you failed. You went onto a fucking starship and you didn't become a Jedi. You threw away your lightsaber, or whatever the fuck you did to it. Maybe she put it in Pip. Ooh. It's just, yeah. Oh, she didn't give in to her negative emotions, and now she's the Acolyte. Now she's evil. Wow. Maybe they should have picked it up beforehand. Maybe sense the fucking darkness in your Padawan. Or maybe there was always darkness and Sol was just trying to be a fucking idiot and try to get a Padawan as badly as he possibly could. Next one, lightsaber effects were fucking cool. I said it before and I'll say it again. I loved them. I think that was like some of the coolest lightsaber effects I've ever seen. And as I said, it made it seem like it was more at home. Kyber crystal bleeding definitely needed more. I need more of that. I need more of what happened to her. I need more of like actually seeing it. I thought that was just so cool. I want to see more of the origins of different villains. Next one, wiped May's memory. Yeah, okay. What else do you have to go into it? Obviously, she was going to get captured and she was going to get chucked away. But it was cool that in a way Osha kind of saved her by being like, yeah, you are not the sister that I'm looking for. Venestra was Qamir's master. That's cool that we got that confirmation. I said before about the story being better if Venestra and the senator were talking about it. And look, my last little point here, which I might go into just a little bit more. Adding Yoda into the Acolyte, I feel personally tarnishes his name as a Grand Master. If he knew about all of this, if he knew about all of the problems that were ensuing, why bother? Why would you let it get this far? You're a pretty shit master. You're a pretty oblivious Grand Master to be able to allow your whole system to fall and crumble under you. Maybe that is why Dooku had the quote of "You live by corruption, you no longer notice its stench." But I feel like Yoda wasn't ready at that time to accept that kind of leniency like he could in the prequels. I just, I'm worried that if they continue with this character, they will have a chance to ruin the majesty of what Yoda is. The prequels basically made it seem like, hey, look, this is why he failed and this is why he banished himself, but he's still a great Grand Master in itself. This one, I think it has the potential to tarnish his name. I don't think Disney's going to be that stupid to be able to be like, hey, we're going to ruin Yoda. Like, why would they? That's one of their biggest things. We'll see what happens to it, but I really personally, I didn't like that they added that in. I I worry for the future of one of the legacy characters. Sorry for hitting that. I just threw that down. All right, let's get into the fan questions. All right, okay, let's get this up. Yep. I should have fucking done this earlier. But I didn't do it. Basically, after the Acolyte, I put out a prompt, all of these questions, which thank you everyone for responding to all of this. I said episode 8 is out, and with that, we have the finale of the Acolyte. So many things to talk about, and too many questions for the future of this show. But for now, what are your thoughts on the finale? Did it redeem the show? Were all of your questions answered? And what did you think about the ending? So, we got a lot of really fucking good responses. Let's start off with the start. Star Wars 66, man, you've got to stop being such a fucking goat, dude. I know how hard you work. I know how much time you put into Star Wars. And the fact that you even take your time to put in questions onto my show, I love you. I love you again. Thank you so much for being a G. Next, oh my God, I nearly just skipped it. He said, sorry, bro. He said, how were the twins made? Still no answer. Facepalm. Yeah, look, full agreement with you. They left too many questions than they did answer them. Next question, we have Star Wars Nerd 00, a fucking G. He's a G. I love Star Wars Nerd 00. Mate, you are one of the reasons why I continue this channel. I'm constantly driven to do more because of you. I love you, dude. You're the best. Like, you're actually such an amazing person and a great creator. Check out his channel. Go check out as well Tales from Prettier. That's his other channel that he does a podcast very similar to this. It's more like a weekly thing. He'll get guests on. He does more guests than I do because no one wants to be a part of this show. Unless you do. Talk to me in the DMs if you want to be a part of my show. Not just you, Star Wars Nerd. Anyone. But yeah, Star Wars Nerd, of course. He said, I'm left with more questions than answers. I do not want a season 2. Just give me Plagueis, adapted straight from other source material. Other than that, the saber fights were great, but overall 3 out of 10. Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. Look, I personally don't really care if they bring a season 2 out. I'm upon the opinion of, like, you know, any Star Wars is good Star Wars. I am going to find a way to like it later on. I will. If I rewatch it in the way that I want to, I think that it's going to be hands down, you know, one of the thematically most relevant shows. I just think they did it in the wrong order and they did it in the wrong way. The writing could have been better, could have been shorter, a whole bunch of stuff. But everything has its downfall. I definitely want to see Plagueis, the Plagueis novel, adapted straight from the text onto the paper. I think that's definitely the only way to go around it. It's just such a loved novel. Next one, he said, yeah, the other saber fights were great, but like overall 3 out of 10, honestly, I agree with the saber fights being great, but I don't agree with the 3 out of 10. I feel like in the end, it worked out to be like a 6 or a 7. Like, it really wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad, but it was pretty fucking horrendous at the end. Tales from Prettier said, everyone's talking about Plagueis. All I saw was Herbert from Family Guy. Overall, this show is 2 out of 10. It's gone lower from a 3 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10. God damn. Okay. Yeah, dude, far out. Plagueis he looked a little bit creepy. Hi, kids. He was pretty creepy, dude. That's a fucking funny comment though. Darth Christensen 17. He says Plagueis in live action was fucking awesome. He yelled in that as well, and did make the show a little better. Look, dude, I agree with you, man. I think adding in legacy characters like that is definitely something that they should be doing in the future. Definitely the future of Star Wars is going to be stuff that is adapted from the novels, adapted from, cartoons, comics, whatever you want to do. The future of Star Wars is bright, and the future of Star Wars is many. That was so bad. I hated that they finished the fucking show. I hated that they finished the show when it was like, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. It was like, fuck, man. I thought I got rid of that song. Get out of here. Get out. Oh, I hate that song. But I love you. I love you all. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. I'm actually really keen for the future of Star Wars. I know this hasn't been my cup of tea for a lot of it, and it's probably not everyone's cup of tea. But I will say it's not the worst. It's not the best. I'm keen to see what they do in the future. I'm keen to see if it changes at all. If maybe they do add a second season and then it just makes all of it make so much more sense. Get new writers. Get new writers that actually fucking know Star Wars. Not like mega fans that are just going to turn it into a passion project, kind of like Dave Filoni did with Ahsoka. But, fans that actually know what the fuck they're talking about. But for now, I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next week, Saturday, 7 p.m. AEST. Luke, thank you so much for your comment, dude. Star Wars Nerd, thank you so much for commenting. And, thank you, Star Wars Sith 66. You're a fucking goat. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao, people.